prior to this interview, I went back and I looked at the website and I was checking the Internet Movie Database. And I looked up Conrad Glover, and I happened to find that you were involved either writing, directing, or producing 5 movies.
Actually, that's 4. The last one I just directed. It was
Okay.
a mob film I directed.
Okay. Now I noticed this has started some years ago. And I'm thinking you came in around the same point at, I guess, at the height or at somewhat of a renaissance of the black film movement. And coming aboard, being an indie filmmaker, what are some of the barriers that you had to come across while making your movies?
Well, nobody took me serious, from friends to family members. Nobody takes you serious, especially in the black community, because it's not like you see black filmmakers walking around. So, when you say you're getting ready to make a film, they're like, yeah, okay, show me the money. And, I'm a type of person, when you tell me no, I'm going to prove you wrong. So I just went out, purchased me a camera, didn't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And, said, look, I'm going to give me a crew, and made my first film. Okay. Which ended up making $500,000.
What have you learned? Because as I know, being new at this too, and what are some things that you did then that you won't make the same mistake now, or some of the things that help you go in the direction you're going in now? The
thing is, each film is to me like a new beginning.
Okay.
Because each film is a different animal. It comes with its own set of problems. And to me, when you start to make a film, to me, the most important thing for me is to make sure my pre-production is in order.
Okay.
If your pre-production is tight.
Meaning what?
Meaning from making sure your shooting schedule is on point, your casting is on point, and you actually go out there and scout locations.
Okay.
And do the work.
Okay.
A lot of times, I hear the horror stories where filmmakers, not only black filmmakers, but filmmakers in general, they don't do the homework beforehand. And then they wonder why they start to make their film and it starts to fall apart. I had a situation where I explained to a producer that
okay.
if he didn't go according to the shooting schedule that I had orchestrated for him, that the film would fall apart. And by the 3rd day, crew started walking.
Wow.
So, it all goes back to, planning. Okay. If you don't plan, your film is not going to, make it through.
Okay.
And to me, that's where, people get so caught up, we're going to shoot on this date, but they don't understand that pre-production is the meat of making this train run. Okay. And if you don't do it right, it definitely will fall apart on you. Okay,
I'm going to get a little, if you don't mind, a little controversial right now.
Okay.
There's been things going across the internet, and I know there's been this chasm. Like I'm saying, in the heyday of black movies, when Spike Lee was out and Robert Townsend was out, the Hughes brothers, Singleton, there was that run in the late 80s to early 90s where every week there was a black film out.
Okay.
About a multitude of subjects, from gangsters,
right,
to a father-son story. And now there seems to be this gap. There's a lack of black films. And one person that's come to the forefront, I know you know what I'm talking about, Tyler Perry.
Mm-hmm.
And his movies. And then I was watching something I seen it online, and Spike Lee's view about Tyler Perry's films. Kind of like saying Amos and Andy type of thing, kind of a step and infected type of thing, and the buffoonery. Now, what is your view on that?
Actually, when I look at Tyler, I look at his films. There's an audience for that, and not saying I love all his films, but he has his niche. People forget that, we're black people, but we all don't like the same stuff. We don't all
Okay.
wear the same shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, where it might be good for someone else, it may not be good for the other. So, I take my hat off to Tyler, and I take my hat off to Spike. Spike, when you're looking at a filmmaker, and you can't compare the two, because, Tyler came from the stage, and he's bringing his movies out. Spike came from the film school, and, progressively improved his game. So you can't compare them. What I like about Tyler is the fact that he's doing it outside of Hollywood.
Okay.
And that's what I love. And if, you as a filmmaker can take his model and utilize it, it's fantastic.
Because on my page, I mean, this whole thing was blowing up, and somebody made a valid point about the two. It's Spike Hayden, but it seems like like you said,
Yeah.
there is room for two types of films, and it seems like nowadays, since there's a lack of black film, is there? And the quote he used, and I kind of felt what he was saying. This crab-like mentality when it comes to us being filmmakers.
It's a funny situation, because you're talking about what we can say in the black community is two icons right now.
Okay.
And I look at Spike as, Spike has done fantastic work, but me myself as a black filmmaker, I'm not gonna knock your hustle.
Okay.
Do what you do. I may not like all your work, but I'm not gonna, come out in public and knock your work. If I don't like your work, I just don't go to it. I don't.
Okay.
But to come out and say, I think with Tyler Perry's movies, a lot of blacks have a tendency to gravitate because they need a release.
Okay.
It's funny and stuff, and they can see different characters and people they grew up with, and it's comedic. How many black comedic type films do we make? Very few.
Okay.
So when they see Medea, they think of aunts, grandmothers, and we all have somebody in our family who's a Medea. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I think we, as blacks, gravitate towards that because we see a family member in some of his characters. But like I said, I believe he has an audience. It's just like, I believe as a black filmmaker, we shouldn't get caught in just making a certain type of black film. We should be making horror films, we should be making thrillers, we should be making dramas, we should be making sci-fi. Everybody, when they talk about a black film, it's a drama. And I really don't buy into that. I think we need to, make all kinds of movies, serial killer movies. You know what I mean?
And sounds like you got an idea.
Hey, but what I'm saying is, we get so caught up in seeing a certain type of movie, and basically, a lot of that is because that's what Hollywood is putting in front of us. To me, I try to think out of the box. I try to do the cutting edge, the raw stuff that everybody, he went there. Because to me, I think if you're going to be a filmmaker or any filmmaker, you can't follow the norm. You gotta keep it edgy and not try to be like the next guy.
Okay. Now, it's been a while since you came out with something, right?
Yeah.
What are you working on now? Producing wise, directing wise, writing wise? Let us know what Conrad Glover is working on now.
He's always got his hand in a couple of pots. Moral Seduction, I'm producing that. I have another project called Poison Needles. I have another project called Dangerous Choices. I have another project called Blue Spirit.
Wow.
The list goes on.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
I have enough work for the next 5 years, really.
So what are we looking at? The most immediate thing. What's like what are
Probably
you working on like now? What's going on now? In your
Moral
work?
Seduction and Poison Needles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we should be when should when should we be looking for those to come out?
Moral Seduction goes into production September 11th of this year.
Okay.
And we're looking at a release probably around the first of the year or so.
Okay, you're gonna try to get some of that Christmas money.
Oh, got to.
All right. Thank you for your time. I'm Conrad Glover, writer, director, producer, man of all trades, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.